Well, for more on Twitter's challenges that it faces, I'm joined by Eric Schiffer. He's an entrepreneur and tech expert joining us live from Los Angeles. Eric, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Eric, Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey has indicated that he is going to make a fundamental change to Twitter. Twitter is reportedly looking at a 10,000 character limit instead of current 140, and this could happen as soon as March. Eric, what is the strategy?
To grow their user base any way they can. And right now they're in trouble because it really hasn't grown, Michelle. And so they're trying different things that will make that happen. The biggest problem with Twitter is the fact that it's hard to use for most users. I ask myself whether any kind of application passes what I call the grandmother test. Could my grandmother use it? And with Twitter, it's difficult. So that's the whole intent behind the longer messaging, because they're hoping that people will be more apt to use it. And they may be right. We don't know. I doubt it, though. I think they're going to be wrong.
Eric, with all due respect, is your grandmother the type of target market that Twitter is going for?
Well, look, I think that they're looking for anyone right now that can allow the subscribers to grow. So I think they're actually looking for a lot of different people. Obviously, millennials are probably the most important, Gen X, et cetera. But the fact of the matter is it's not easy to use. A lot of people just stop using it. In fact, I think you yourself, Michelle, have stopped some time ago. I think.
You're absolutely right about that. You're absolutely right about that. And that 140 character limit, Eric, that came about because back in the day when it was started in 2006, those were the limitations of an SMS, a short message system. To your point, some say, well, that is outdated. But it is now so ingrained as part of the product that it feels like the whole idea is to be short and snappy and to convey a message succinctly, especially in this era of ADD. So do you not think that this could alter the product too drastically and backfire?
No, I think the people that are saying that, the people that you hear them say that are talking in that direction, I think they're totally wrong. I think they're completely off base. I think they're clueless. The reality is this has been going on a long time. People use images with a lot of text. So if you want to be able to create a long message, you just type it up, you create a JPEG, you create an image, and then you attach it. In this situation, what they're talking about is they're still talking about being able to push a button. Someone would have to push a button in order to see it go longer. So it's not going to really change the fundamentals at all. I think it's a false concern.
Well, a big concern, which we can't deny, is that Twitter's user growth has been stagnating since the first quarter of 2013. It's averaged a less than 5% quarter-over-quarter growth. Eric, why are we seeing this? Is it a question of just hitting saturation point, or is it competition? What's going on?
I think again, it's the grandmother test. It's too hard. It's too difficult for the average user. I think that it's different than Facebook because it's not as social in terms of being able to communicate easily and privately. It just really isn't. And it's difficult to use. So what they're probably going to do, and I think what Jack Dorsey will ultimately get to, is to make it far easier, make the user experience better, Appleize it, if you will, bring the spirit of Steve Jobs to this product. When they do that, the growth will happen. And the fact of the matter is the stock is being hammered because it's not growing, and investors are concerned about that. Revenue's growing, but subscribers aren't growing, and that's a big problem.
You're absolutely right about the stock being hammered. On the upside, in terms of revenue, those longer tweets could provide Twitter with more data to analyze, and then they could use that to target ads more effectively. But as you said, the stock is being hammered down just 25% in the past month. So, Eric, do investors not feel that this will work? What do you think?
I think investors rightly see that Twitter has a big problem. And the big problem is if you're not growing your user base, the fact is you're not going to ultimately be able to grow advertising revenue. Facebook, believe it or not, as big as it is, continues to grow. And that's what investors are looking at. When they look at Twitter, they're saying, okay, you're beating Facebook in terms of revenue growth, which they are, surprisingly, but they're not anywhere near in terms of the subscriber growth. And the future is where investors look. And the future does not look good right now. Right now, and I say that right now because Dorsey is just getting started, frankly. I think that I think he will grow the user base bigger. I think that these concerns about Twitter are frankly a little bit overblown. Look, if you want to find anyone of any authority, big celebrities, sports stars, politicians,
right.
they're on Twitter. I spend a lot of time on Twitter. I have a big following there. It's where you go to be able to really communicate messages. The media is there. They're looking there. They don't do this on Facebook. So it has a lot of cachet.
Eric,
yes.
Eric, you're certainly right. Everyone, maybe not your grandmother, but every celebrity is very active on Twitter. But investors don't seem very happy. The stock is down 50% for the year. Let's talk very quickly on what we can expect from Twitter in terms of monetizing and your outlook for earnings that are out in February.
Well, the monetization right now is largely advertising driven. So that's where they're getting most of their revenue. I think it's like 80%. They get some sponsorship and then they sell data. So I do believe that you will see really good earnings this next cycle. I think that they're going to, again, show quarter-over-quarter growth that'll be pretty tremendous. But now is the big question, which is, can they continue it? I'm skeptical of that until they figure out being able to grow the user base, which ultimately, as I said, I think they're going to do. But currently, they got a big problem.